It's the spirit, it's the thought that counts. You've heard that saying before. Anyway, since Christmas is approaching and, getting on, and people are in the Christmas spirit, and they're putting all the decorations up. And you know what really helps is when they put snow out there. When snow comes in, everyone gets that, I better start spending money, isn't it? It has that magic touch. So when Jesus was born, some 3 Maharajas, kings from the Orient, they're oftentimes, portrayed as being very dark-skinned, like you, and wearing turbans, and they followed a particular star, They knew that some great person was going to be born, so they showed up at the manger, which is a place where Jesus was born, and it's cows, which is really interesting. It's got a lot of similarities or parallels with Krishna. And they brought gold, frankincense, and myrrh. These are great commodities, and that was offered to the baby, Jesus, bambino. Bambino is an Italian word, little boy, little baby boy. And so the gifts were given to him. Now Christmas has taken on an interesting turn, and everyone's giving it to each other, but you're supposed to be giving it to the representative of God. It's quite strange, isn't it? The habit and the tradition, of giving. And giving with so many attachments to it, strings attached. You've heard that phrase before, strings attached. We have a strong policy here in the temple that if you want to put decorations up, I'm off with it. We have not had, so we use strings. So whether we suggest use strings. String is strong. It can be strong. Some of you will be getting Brahminical threads, and it's a Brahminical thread is several threads together, and it gets very strong. So strings attached. We're bound by strings. We're bound by ropes, in fact. You know what a rope is? Have you ever looked at a rope deeply? It's many strings put together to make the rope. One of the best ropes comes from cannabis, the marijuana plant. So they used to use that. It was one of the best things. Certain bridges are built too with kind of like wire wrapped around more wire. And Prabhupada used to talk about Aesop's tales. They call them fables. And one fable was, to do with when many sticks, come together. It's hard to break them. There's a inference there. So if you take, just a stick, maybe it's very thin like this, and you can break it over your knee really easily, But if you take a whole bunch together, then it's hard to break. United we stand, together we fall. In our mission, the Hare Krishna movement, we are simply bonding together in a very strong way. And if kirtan, like the ones we have in the morning, doesn't kind of sell the idea, I don't know what will. We get very strongly tied in. You have to get over the ego, and I'm not going to dance. I just don't feel like it this morning, like that. But, somebody has to give you a little jab on the side, and then you get going and you see when everyone's jumping, everyone's moving, then you see the solidarity and you see the strength in numbers, What Sankirtan is, how powerful it really is. When we had Rath Yatra this year, going down Yonge Street towards Front, the crowds were so big, so packed, it shocked the police. They didn't, and they had to give us all the lanes. It was 10,000 people there. They didn't really expect that. If they think Hare Krishna is just a few people, at a campfire singing Kumbaya, then they've got another thing coming to them, We've got solidarity. There's a lot of people that when bonded together with a strong purpose, we've got something there. So in terms of controlling the senses, the mention here is about, particularly about, in this verse, about lust and anger, greed, and envy. Yeah, those are the points that are mentioned. Yeah, it is possible to be determined when we are united in this endeavor. So it's the unity that's really important. And Krishna states in the Bhagavad Gita, Vita Raga Bhaya Krodha Mama Yaman Upasrita. Can you look that one up? Vita Raga Bhaya Krodha. Vita, it's about attachment and lust and greed, and many people have been able to conquer over these, let's say, little devils by knowledge of me. We can look at that, okay? Let's do it together. Vita Raga Bhaya Krodha Manmayama Upasrita Bahovo Jnana Tapasa Putta Madbhavam Agata. Okay, so let's look at being freed from attachment, fear, and anger, being fully absorbed in me, and taking refuge in me. Many persons in the past became purified by knowledge of me, and thus they all attained transcendental love for me. Sometimes we get the notion that, devotees are rare, they're few in number. When Prabhupada was with us in 1975, Prabhupada was asking, are we making lots of devotees? And the temple administrators at that time said, they quoted from the Gita, Manushanam Sahasreshu Kaschid Yatati Siddhaye Yatatama Api Kaschid Mam Veti Tatvataha. Very good. And the ratios are like this: for out of 1,000 people, one person will take a keen interest in spiritual life. And out of 1,000 of those who take an interest in spiritual life, one may really get serious and come to the level of, So yeah, you can look at, you're all right, everyone's writing down. I see pens and phones, and they're in full action, So this is the verse that was quoted by Srila Prabhupada in Toronto, so it's significant, right? Basically it's saying that the ratio is very small. The percentage of people really surrendering is very small. However, if you look at the previous verse that we were just looking at, Vita Raga Bhaya Krodha, what was the reference there? Yeah, 4:10. Yeah, many, did you notice that? Many people have become purified by knowledge of me and have taken to the path of transcendence. So they may be two verses that be a little contradictory, but really, if we had a chance, and Prabhupada did give us some hope, if you all become pure, very pure, surrender, right at this moment, he was implying, if you surrender right now at one particular point, given time, we can conquer over the world in 18 days. That's power, that's strength. What were the phrases? Purity is the force. The force is in the purity. It's in your integrity. It's in your accountability and your, transparency. So those are like three words that Anutama, our, senior, has identified as the things that's important for followers of ISKCON and leaders in ISKCON. Integrity, which means you have to be very sincere about what you do. There has to be accountability. You can't be hiding anything. You have to be upfront. The truth must be spoken. And the last one is transparency. Yeah, that's right. Again, along the same lines, do not hide anything. There's nothing to hide. It's not like I'm ordering pizza with pepperoni on it at the middle of the night. No, we don't do that. We just don't do those things. We don't have a double standard. We're sincere about what we do. And we were talking about it yesterday, that was it with the art group here yesterday, or maybe it was in the Zoom call last night, but I joined Krishna consciousness because I saw that the real Christians were here. I was looking for Christians, like real, serious ones, And then I met the devotees, said, these are more Christ-like than the Christians that I know, But it's not that all of those devotees that I met at that particular time, there's 5 of them, they all remain serious, but the good bulk of them have. And, Prabhupada did use that phrase, don't be surprised as who leaves, but who stays. Yeah, that's right. And we're hoping that even those who may, move on, that they're carrying with them some of the beautiful things that they've learned in the process. Actually, it's very hard to see someone leave and to fall from grace. It hurts a lot for devotees. I lost my friend. But there's always a chance that they can come back. We always have to make for it to feel open. When Prabhupada was talking to one of his disciples who had spent some time away, and he came back and he with a tear in his eye coming down the cheek, he said, please take these. He gave the dhoti, wear it and stay with us. That's what he was saying. And Prabhupada also had to learn that not everyone did stay. Somebody the other day asked me, why is that? Why is that some of the original people didn't stick it out, so to speak, go for the long haul? And one answer I gave, well, it's conditioning. Conditioning is very strong, Like some of you love your idlis and you love your, the dosas, and you love the sambar. How many people like them? You're very addicted, right? There's a bunch of addicts here. And when it comes out hot off the press, so to speak, so the conditioning is very strong. And so this is a thing to consider. Conditioning is very strong. Now, because it's all vegetarian, it's great, and they don't make it spicy hot like they do in South India. And there's no onions in there, so forbidden. But conditioning is really strong. That's what makes it very hard for some people to just kind of jump into the sattvic lifestyle. It's difficult. It's not that easy. For someone to say, just give up the sense gratification. Give up the lust. To say, don't lust anymore. For some people, like the reason why some of us shave our heads, it kind of denounces vanity. And for some people, it's like, oh no, oh my God. Hair is used as the object to attract often, isn't it? It's the thing that allures, People are really into fancy haircuts these days, and the beards and everything, and there's all kinds of languages and, things like that. And, when they see someone without hair, some people say, oh my God, that really scares me. I won't be able to allure others, So, or like some people might, I remember we didn't have cotton and silk dhotis and saris. We had polyester things that we bought from the store. We just didn't have the funds. We didn't even go to India yet. Well, we'd just get a roll out. It'd be so many yards long or meters. And, and they had filler's earth for tilak, which was really starkishly white, so we looked like skunks. We were definitely not making a fashion statement, in terms of what's cool. Somebody from Calgary sent to me pictures of these male models in Paris, and they're going down the catwalk, and they're all in different styles of dhotis and turbans and all that. That was kind of cool, But I couldn't see anybody wearing those kind of things on Yonge Street. Conditioning is strong. That's the point. Whatever you have sort of been born with, whatever has become habit since we were young, it's very hard to break off. It's very hard to break off. Unless if you become a little bit enlightened, you see what is actually, been my friend, I see is actually becoming my enemy. Whatever I thought is giving me satisfaction, it's actually, I'm becoming buried in this situation. I'm frying like a fish, frying in my own oil. So the very things that you feel are your friend is actually more of an enemy. And when we are young, we try to identify with people who are going to allure us, right? And tell us, take that drink. When Prabhupada was in college, they were teasing him for like a smoke. And does everybody know the famous thing about, what was that? Clinton. He was one of the presidents of the United States. Anybody know Clinton? You've heard his name? Yeah. He was accused of smoking marijuana before it became legal. And that was like a big taboo. And he said, well, I smoked, but I didn't inhale it. And people are, please give me a break. We're not that stupid. So once you get into these habits, it's very hard to break. I have one god brother, he was smoking a pack of cigarettes every day, before he came to the movement. And then once he got into Krishna consciousness, he was chanting, the fingers that are used for smoking. We've seen people do it like as if you're some kind of cool cat. Or actually more of a fool cat, Fool cat, because the definition of a cigarette is, it's a stick that has a fire on one end and a fool on the other end. That's the definition of a cigarette. Because, you get lung cancer and all these things. But once people get hooked on these things, the habit forming is very hard to break off. Very hard to break off. Therefore, I can appreciate 100% why Prabhupada is saying, trying to capture us when we were young, said, don't do this and don't do that, because you are just going to get entangled. You're burying yourself alive. That's the idea. So, therefore, the prohibitions are there. Now, some people take objection to that, and but it's just for our own good. Even a little drink, drink in moderation. People say, it can't hurt anybody. Yes, it can. Yes, it can, and it has. They are called intoxicants. Look at the word, haribol, like wake up. They're intoxicants. So anyways, to overcome these things, we have to be determined. And so the example is given that you may say very pretty people on the opposite, from the opposite gender, and or you might be determined as a brahmachari. I'm going to stay for him. Thank you very much. Thank you for keeping us in the dark. We had some letters came to Prabhupada about brahmacharis who didn't want to have women in the temple room chanting japa together. And, their desires, I don't want to see them. I don't want to get allured. And Prabhupada he was objecting to that. And he sent a letter back, tell them to go to the forest. Not to get the women to go to the forest, let the men who are agitated easily go to the forest. So everywhere you're going to see pretty ladies, you're going to see handsome men. It's everywhere all over the world. But somebody has to be very determined, And when people settle down in marriage, you've made, sort of a bond, signed a contract. And it doesn't mean that now you may be a little attracted even from someone outside your spouse, but you have to be very determined to say, no, there's only one love for me. One love. I'm not to imply Bob Marley, one love. That's not what I'm talking about. There's only one love, and that is the person that you made vows towards. And there is Krishna, of course. We must love him. So love is not to be canceled out, nor is there, let's say, maybe jealousy. Do you feel jealousy sometimes? Oh, that person knows all the shlokas. Oh, I wish I could. I wish I could do that when delivering a class. And, but instead of reacting to the jealousy, your response, your reaction, by putting down the person, he knows a lot. He knows a lot more than me. So I'm going to make statements out there that, well, he's quite a pundit, but. And then point out some of the weaknesses, that's how some people respond. But the way that we should respond, like someone is excelling in some area, I want their association. I want to know what it takes to, get to up myself, to elevate myself, And then anger is something that is sometimes demonstrated. And I've seen like at Janmashtami time, because people are fasting for 24 hours. And it's the hottest time of the year, and it's very crowded. And I see sometimes devotees flare up at each other, They're they're lacking some sleep and hungry and all these things. So this is a great time, great opportunity to try to conquer over, and just withstand, object, So, the disciplines are important, and where there's discipline, there's determination, right? Determination implies, or discipline applies determination. It's called Dhrida Vrata, to be very determined. The story of the sparrow with her eggs is a nice example of being very determined. So, those are some of the things to consider. We've actually reached the point where I should fermer ma bouche, which means in French, shut my mouth, and then ask you to ouvrez, open your mouths, okay? Thank you very much. I think we tried to stick to the theme here, and which is that you have to curb sense gratification and address the demons and discuss the truth. This is how you overcome it. Discuss truth. The truth is pastimes. Like some of us were in the Japa Walk. We saw the shop there where they do the plastic surgery, and it says, the body is a machine, right? Is that how it goes? Yeah, well, that's truthful. That's very truth. It's like a bullet point. The body is a machine. I wonder if they stole that from one of Prabhupada's books. Yeah. But it is a machine. And, conquer over it. So we're now going to hear from you, Prabhus, and tell us what you thought. Is that air conditioning really on?
It doesn't feel like...
No, the last feed. Well, maybe we can do something about it. The idea is to give a nice sort of healthy chill and then cut it off at some point. Oh, okay. I like the fresh. I saw your hand first.
Honestly, I was just stretching my hand.
Oh, you were?
Sorry, Maharaj.
Okay. Well, think of another reason for stretching your hand. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so Maharaj, you were talking about conditioning, and I don't know what happened to me, but I feel like I've been conditioned to always be scared, be very afraid, and I don't know what to do.
Oh, it's okay to be afraid. We should be afraid. We should be afraid of Maya. Once Prabhupada said the problem with many of my disciples is that they don't fear Maya, right? They're used to being swallowed up by Maya. And so now so it's good fear is natural. Eating, sleeping, mating, and fearing. That's the term that Prabhupada used a lot. So it's natural. But just have to fear the right thing. Fear Maya. What's the song that was made popular by Elvis? Fools, what is it? Fools rush in. How does it go? Can you sing it for us? You know the words, right? Fools rush in where angels dare to tread. I think the words are just a little bit different. So we should actually fear the things that are going to pull us into Maya. So can you dovetail that Maya? That's the question. You have to ask yourself, can I be fearful of Maya? The allurements that are so prevalent out there. Such as drinking and smoking and vaping and all those kind of things, and then pursuing a short-term one-stand relationship with somebody and then forgetting them, all those kind of ridiculous things. So, if we get like a little bit allured, then we should feel a little fear. We should feel some uneasiness about that. Yeah. So fear the things that are fearful. And devotees define fearful things quite differently from what non-devotees think. In fact, non-devotees, they fear, like we were talking about, shaven head, oh my God. Or fasting, oh no. Like, oh my. I try to think sometimes, well, what are we doing? Where's the austerity? Like, we were living in the temple here. Where's the austerity? That's the best food. It's the best music. We're living with the nice people. They crack jokes and everyone's smiling. And where's the austerity? Tell me. It's hard to figure out. The only austerity might be when you have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Does anybody struggling with that still? Are you struggling? Is it getting better in time? Okay, because when you go out in the so-called real world, you'll have to be getting up at 5 in the morning anyways. Might as well get used to it now, right? How about you, Pradeep? You've been getting up early in the morning since time immemorial? No? All right. Well, maybe that's the biggest austerity of all, right? Oh, I can't go to the RT now. I got some errands to run. Oh my God. I hear those kind of things from some devotees. That's healthy. That's a very, very, let's say, welcoming kind of spirit or mentality. Anything else? Yes.
Maharaj, we are conditioned, but that's not our originality. And why is it like conditions are so stronger than our original nature?
Well, we've been at it for a long time. That's why.
Even when we read about Maharaj Muni's Matsya Gandha's story, this feels like he was such a great sage, and still, the lust was.
Oh yeah, some momentary lust was there, yes. But what came out of it was interesting. What came out of it, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Yeah, so it wasn't such a bad moment. It really wasn't, yeah. But it's not so much that there's spurts of agitation, It's what are you going to do about it? How are you addressing it? You kind of like drown yourself in services. And there might be an opportunity or a time for it to, happen in a more natural and controlled environment. That's what you want to go for. Krishna does address that. I am kama, which is not contrary to dharma. So stay within the regulated lifestyle. Yes?
In the beginning, I used to think that, having these desires or having this, bad thoughts, it's bad in itself. Like, I shouldn't even think of it. Like, it should not come to my mind. But then, with time, I realized that it's not like the thoughts will come, but what you do with it matters the most.
That's right.
Yeah, if you don't really pay attention to them, don't really feed in them, then it's fine. Like,
Mm-hmm.
do what you got to do. Just don't.
Yeah. Like say you see something that's really attractive that was trying to suck you in. You look away. And keep looking away. But if you look a second time, that was third time. Then walk backwards and then go close to it. And says, you might get caught in, you're like the mice. You know, the cheese is out there always for you. And you have to be. One has to be really careful. I remember at Avondab at the corner, there was, a couple, they were in a convertible, and there was a couple, and the guy who was driving had to suddenly stop. Anyways, there was a lot of laughter going on, like they were a little bit intoxicated. And when he put on the brakes, she didn't have her seatbelt. She just kind of like fell out. And so like suddenly her laughter was cut short. And anything can happen at any time. But, we have our shelters, It's like if you go to Ramsden Park, there is shelter there now. In case it rains real hard, you can go under there. And what is our shelter? Chanting, going to a devotee and, giving a hug and almost like indicate, can you talk to me right now? Can we talk? Or practical things like look in the sky. It really helps, Look, of course, chant the Maha Mantra. What else can we do when these spirits occur? Read, that's right. Read, get your japa beads out, grab a mridanga, do some kirtan, let all those feelings that you have just, let's say vented through the drum. Go for a long walk, japa walk, that's right. Kind of get it out of your system, yeah. And go to a strong devotee. That's probably one of the, kind of like at the top of the list, priorities. That's how determination will come about. Is that okay, Prabhu? Great. I'm answering your question, but also addressing yours. Did I address it? Okay. Partially? Okay. Anybody else? We have time for one more.
Thank you, Maharaj. Me and Mona were glorifying a devotee yesterday, and I think Prabhu is also an example that we are living in ashram. That's why we are waking up every day early and trying to do our sadhana before in the morning.
No.
But how can we make sure? Because I was telling him that even if I go out, if I start living outside right now, I won't be able to complete my rounds before like 6:30 or 7, like these Prabhus are doing. It's going to be hard for me to wait.
Yeah, it'll be more difficult because you're by yourself. So what you can do, I'm just a practical suggestion. One of your friends who is doing it, ask him to give you a call. Hey, bro. Some devotees are doing japa together, so otherwise trying to do these things solo, it's quite difficult. Yes, Prabhu.
I have my, Leo Prabhu helped me to wake me up. So yes, he's my personal alarm clock.
Who's that? Leo, okay. Leo, you can't go now. You have to stay here.
It's still cold.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah, so take help. The strongest element which was going to make a difference in your spiritual life is the Sangha. Top of the list. Top. Guaranteed. Yeah. Okay. Anything else? All right. We hope you all have a nice devotional day. I found my keys. I don't have to panic anymore. Huh? Oh, I left it there. Oh. That was the first time I stepped in there since it was done, because I've been away so much. Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Bruce. Let us do this. Take your right hand.
Smile, please.
And move it over like a meter. Bring it to this point. Align it with your nose. Take the left hand and do the same thing. And let them come together. Now slowly lower your elbows. Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sandubhyevacha patitanam bhavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo